Hi, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday Workshop with Sew in Common. I'm Diana. I'm the owner and the designer and creator of the Build-A-Quilt system, where we create patchwork, like all this beautiful patchwork you see behind me, with the hoop of our embroidery machine. It's so much fun. It's great for people just starting out in patchwork who want to do what I call the 21st century way of doing patchwork. Now, I have been a quilter for over 55 years. Yeah, I'm old as dirt, but that's okay. And I love it. But I know over time, I've had carpal tunnel surgery, and repetitive stress is kind of hard on my hands. And I know it is for some of you who love quilting as much as I do. So with the Build-A-Quilt system, you're reducing that type of repetitive stress. And like I said, if you've got a home embroidery machine and you really love it, and you've tried doing patchwork, but you're not into the 1/4 inch and how do I do this and all the templates and all the cutting and measuring, that's all taken care of for you with Build-A-Quilt, because all the seams, everything is built into the digital design that you create when you work with your embroidery machine. Super easy to do. And today is our Wednesday workshop. We have one every Wednesday. And today is what we're calling Spring Eclipse. That's the block we're going to talk about today, the Spring Eclipse block. Why Spring Eclipse? Well, part of that is because we are having really unusually warm weather. It's the last part of February, and yesterday it was almost 76. It was almost 80 degrees here in northern Illinois. Can you believe that? I mean, that's completely unheard of. And it's been like that. We've had this rolling 50s, 60s, one day in the 30s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and like tomorrow is supposed to be like in the 20s, but then we're right back into the 60s again for another couple of weeks. So really weird winter, but things are starting to bloom, which is, I think, going to hurt them in the long run if we do have a cold snap, but it's also set up allergies and a spring cold for me already. But the other part of the reason why Spring Eclipse is because on April 8th, if you are a space nut like I am, there's going to be a total eclipse of the sun, and a very large swath of the United States is going to be in that path, and we're going to get to see the whole entire thing, and I'm super excited about it. I've got my little special glasses. My husband, we even bought the little special glasses, so he's given them to all his employees at work so they can all go outside and see the eclipse together. And April 8th is very close to my birthday, so I feel a little special that I'm getting a total eclipse right around my birthday. So lots of fun. So I thought, why not do a block about spring and about the eclipse? So this block right here, I don't have my stabilizer washed out yet, so it's not fully pressed, but this block is the Spring Eclipse block. Now, what do you need for it? You need your square in 2 sizes from the Build-A-Quilt Basics Block 1 set, the 4-inch square and the 2-inch square. And then from the Build-A-Quilt Basics Part 2, you need the Flying Geese in the 2x4 inch, okay? Those are the only segments you're going to use. So really, you're only using 2 segment blocks, but the one segment, the square, we're going to be making in 2 sizes. Let's bring up this design here of the block that I created so that you can see it. It looks a little bit complicated, but it really isn't. You're going to be making your Flying Geese units and your squares. Pretty easy to do that. And I have several photographs here that I will share with you so that you can see the different pieces. So let's see here. You're going to have one 4x4 inch square. That's going to be your center. You are going to have 8 of the 2x2 squares, and this, what you're seeing here, this aqua greenish fabric, these are going to be in what you would call your background fabric. Okay, so you're going to have 8 of those in the 2x2, and you're going to have Something is going on weird with my thing. I can't flip through my pictures today. I don't know why. And you're going to be making 12 of your flying geese units. And your flying geese units are going to be your base color, your background color, and this part is going to be your second fabric. So you're only going to be having 2 fabrics in this whole design. Let's look at it back here. You can see it a little bit better. So at the end here, I have a little film clip for you that I've created. It's about like 6 or 8 minutes, and it walks you through how to put this together. So 12 of your flying geese units, you're going to end up with a full 12-inch finished block. Now, you guys know that with your Build-A-Quilt system, you could use any of the sizes and create a different size if you wanted. I created mine in the 12-inch. So 12 of these flying geese units. And you know that if you have your Build-A-Quilt system, you already have a video tutorial to show you how to create your flying geese. So you can do that. And for your blocks, there is a how-to video that shows you everything in part 1 and everything in set 2. So very easy to follow along. That's why I haven't refilmed that for you. But I did film a little bit of a layout to show you how to put this together, because this comes together in a bit of an odd way. In fact, while we're talking about that, sorry for my crazy voice. It's just all of this cold stuff. I actually sound better than I did the other day. Let's look at our layout here. So the layout will help you a bit. The top row and the bottom row are the same. A square, and 2 flying geese in the middle. And the 2 sides are 2 flying geese. Actually, you're not seeing me point that because I don't have my, there we go. So a block, 2 flying geese, a block, 2 flying geese. Your 2 sides are 2 flying geese on each side. And then the center is the star, or the eclipse. That's what we're calling the eclipse. And a block, a flying geese, 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 a block. So very, very simple to put that together. And in the little video clip, you'll see it laid out, and I'll walk you through twice. I walk you through how to put it together. So we always try to get things in rows, but you notice that you can't get this all in a row until you've put your star together, your eclipse in the center, then you add this, and then you add the top and bottom. And I chose springy colors for this, but I think this would look beautiful in blues and whites, blues and silvers, blues and golds, anything to kind of give you that outer space look. I really love this block. I just think it's super duper pretty. But that is our block for this week for Wednesday workshop. I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought a little bit because I've got this cold stuff going on. But let's put this to the side for a minute, because now I want to talk to you about this block. This block I mentioned briefly, I think it was Sunday in the Quilt Lab. This one's coming up next week. This block has nothing to do with the Build-A-Quilt basics. Right now, each week, we're going through and figuring out different blocks that we can use with our Build-A-Quilt basic sets. And I'll show you how to get that at the end here. But next week, this is a block that I created, I think 5, maybe 6 years ago, at least 5 years ago. And I created a runner for it, and it was a giving project where if you bought the pattern, that money went to a food bank. And we gave them a lot of money that year, a lot of people, but it was done in a traditional way. I hadn't finalized the Build-A-Quilt system yet. Well, now that I've digitized this block so that you can make this design by building it in the hoop of your machine. And next week, we'll be talking about how to put this block together. It's not going to be difficult, but you'll be able to get that pattern, and all the proceeds for that pattern are going to go to a local food bank as well. So that's coming next week. But this week is all about our beautiful spring eclipse. And if you noticed, I bet some of you have, because you guys are some of the most, like, you catch things right away. If you'll notice, this block has an X here right through it, which is made from the background fabric. Let me just grab this. Has been February's block of the month. Our diamond in a cross. So very similar idea. And this was inspired originally by the card trick block. All of that was in Sunday's video, which I'll post here at the end. Now this is different, but it's still that same idea of this eclipse star being in this cross in the center for the spring eclipse. All right, so that's this week. I hope you enjoy it. It was a fun block to do. Didn't take me long at all. I think doing this whole block took me about an hour and a half at the most, from beginning to end. Actually, I take that back. It didn't even take me that long. It took me about 35 minutes. Yeah, it was really quick to do it because I'm only doing the squares and the flying geese. All right, everybody, if you want to find our Build a Quilt system, you can go to the website, www.sewuncommon.com, and our Build a Quilt Basic Set 1 is there, and our Build a Quilt Basic Set 2 is there. With Set 1, you're going to get your most used block in all of quilting, the half square triangle, the square, and the quarter square triangle. You'll get all of your instructions, your cutting information. All of these come in 4 sizes in this set, 2, 3, 4, and 5-inch finished. You'll get your cut sheets. They look like that. Yours, of course, will be in color. Oh gosh, we're under a tornado warning. Oh my gosh, I knew we were supposed to get some bad weather today. I just got a thing coming through. So we're going to finish up here pretty quick because I may have to go to the crawl space. And then with your set 2, it comes in 3, 4, and 5-inch finished, and you get your diamond in a square, your flying geese, and your split rail. All of these different pieces are extremely useful. You can make hundreds of quilts with them. And we have something coming out next week on pre-order, which is our master set of the modified half square triangles. You'll see about that in Sunday's video because I talked about it there. All right, everybody. So let me finish up here. Please post your pictures over at Facebook, Sew and Comment, so that we can see those and I can share them. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. We'd love to have you. We've only grown to the size we are because of all of you guys. And it just gives me so much pleasure to know that you all like to quilt with the Build a Quilt system as much as I do. I don't do any traditional quilting anymore. I do all my piecing and all my quilting with my embroidery machine now, and I absolutely love it. This system came about because I had friends who said, we'd love to quilt with you, but all we want to do is our embroidery machine. I said, okay. So it took me a few years to figure it out and to learn how to digitize, but I finally did it. And now we have this Build a Quilt system, and I love it. And I know some of you do too, because you guys send me some of the best letters, and I can't thank you enough. Now, for those of you that are subscribers to Quilt Lab, you will be getting your email today telling you the time and giving you the invite for this month's Quilt Lab Zoom session, which is on Friday, okay? So please go ahead, subscribe, like, and share the video. I would appreciate that very much. And please comment in the bottom, what do you think of the Spring Eclipse block? I really love it. I think it's going to turn out to be a block that I'm going to use in a quilt for sure. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your day. If you are in a bad weather area like I am, go get safe. Oh gosh, I think I'm starting to hear the siren, so I better get going. Gosh, in February, never in my life. Anyway, until next time, everybody, have a great day. Make a spring eclipse block and sew life beautiful. Bye for now. Okay, everybody, here we are at the cutting table. I'm just trying to find a light here for us. Okay, I guess that light won't work. My light just doesn't seem as bright as it normally does. Let me see if I can get it to brighten up. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay, here we are at the cutting table. I'm going to walk around so you can see. All right, so this is the layout of Spring Eclipse. Like I said, this is a really simple block to make because it only has, well, technically no, it only has two segments, but one of them comes in two sizes. You're going to make a 4-inch square segment here, but all the other squares are these 2x2s. Those come in your basic set one. And then everything else on here is the exact same flying geese unit, whether it's on the outer perimeter or if it makes our star in the center, our eclipse star. They're made exactly the same way, maybe with the same fabric, everything, but maybe if you're looking at it and going, it looks different to me, probably that is because in the star in the center, we have the geese pointing in, and on the perimeter, we have the geese pointing out. So that makes it look a little different. But can you see from the layout, can you see the card trick here? This kind of has that same idea of the card trick of this cross, just like our monthly block in the Quilts lab does, but this is made with different pieces, but it's got that same cross idea to it, which is similar to the idea of the card trick, which we talked about last Quilt lab. Alrighty, so what I thought we would do here is I would share with you how to stitch this together. Okay, because it's not difficult, but it doesn't just come in those 3 rows and boom, we're done. Okay, so the first thing I would tell you is to sew your top row together here. That's your 2 squares and your 2 flying geese. And then do the same thing here on the bottom row, 2 squares, 2 flying geese. On the perimeter, all your geese face outwards, okay? So if you need to jot that down, go ahead. It just faces outward, no problem. Now, then I would tell you, sew these 2 geese units together on the side and these 2 on the side. So then you're going to have 2 rows together and you're going to have 2 sets of geese together. That leaves us the star in the center. And this is super easy. We've done these things before. This is 3 rows. This row, and this row. Once you get those 3 rows done, then you're going to sew these 3 rows together and you're going to basically have one small 8-point star block. So if you need an 8-point star block, there you go. That would be done. But then I want you to add this set of flying geese to this side of the star and this set of flying geese to this side of the star. Then you're going to have this rectangle. We'll just call it a rectangle. We don't care that the star is in the middle, but we have a rectangular shape there. Then you're going to add this top row to the rectangle and this bottom row to the rectangle, and you'll be done. Okay, so what we're doing is working this into, in the end, technically we're going to have those 3 rows, but we're going to have kind of a skinny row here, just this one. Then we're going to have this nice wide rectangle row, and then we're going to have another skinny row down here. And those are your 3 rows in the end. So let's talk this through one more time. I'm going nice and slow. The very first thing you want to do, lay your piece out just as you see it. Then sew this top row of 4 pieces together. You're going to have a square, a flying geese, and a square. Sew those together. Then you're going to do the exact same thing on the bottom row. A square, a flying geese, and a square. Easy, right? Then you've got 2 rows done. Then you're going to do these 2 sets of flying geese units that are out here on the edges. This set together and this set together. And so then you're going to have basically your outer perimeter is taken care of. Now we're going to work on the star in the center. This is easy. This is 3 rows. Row 1, square, flying geese, square. Row 2, flying geese, square, flying geese. Row 3, square, flying geese, square. Now, on this inner one, with the star, you want your flying geese pointed inward. See, there's my point, pointed inward. Out here on the edge, they're pointed outward, but here we want them pointed inward. That's what gives you your star points. Now, when we've made these stars before, we've used 2 half square triangles. In this particular one, we're using that flying geese unit, which is getting rid of 1, 2, 3, 4 seams for us because we don't have those there for sewing the centers together. So once you have this sewn together in your 3 rows, then you're going to sew this row to the middle row and this row to the middle row, and you're going to have one beautiful star block. Then I want you to take your 2 sets of 2 flying geese units, sew one on the left side, one on the right side, and then I want you to sew your top row onto this large rectangle and your bottom row onto the other side of the large rectangle, and you'll be done. And you'll end up with a 12 by 12 block here. So these 2 together make 8 inches. This is 10 inches. This is 12. So you're going to end up with a 12 by 12 block in this case, another 12 by 12, because in this case, I used the 2-inch finished square, the 4-inch finished square, and I used the 2 by 4-inch flying geese unit. Okay? Alrighty, let's go back over to the other camera now.